I'm sure most of the people here like know who you are, your story, but if you want to just give like the bullet points of your career, and then we can focus on the main topic of this, like the retirement side.
Yeah. So I came into the league in 2007, basically the year John Kempen was born, and I got drafted fourth overall to Real Salt Lake and played there for 3 years. Ended up winning an MLS Cup my last year there. Funny story, but I got traded or the trade was agreed upon during the parade for our for winning the MLS Cup. So I got back to the stadium, did the celebration, and the GM and the head coach called me in and told me that I was traded to Philadelphia, who was going to be a brand new team that year. It was something that I was working on for a while because I was the number two there and wanted to get out and test myself in a new environment. And so I welcomed the trade, but it was obviously surprising circumstances and timing of it. So went out to Philly, had a rough year, but a great learning year. Learned a lot about myself, but also learned a lot about the ups and downs as a professional. And so that was great. I was told my option was picked up. And then on the option day, they decided to decline my option and put me into the reentry draft. So that was an interesting story in itself. And from there, I got picked up technically by Seattle and then traded straight away to Dallas, where I was at for 8 seasons. And I met my boy Tesho there. We were roommates
Yeah,
on the
buddy.
road.
Big
Uh,
roommate energy.
we had a lot of deep conversations, a lot of fun conversations, and a lot of thought-provoking ones. But our wives became close, and Tesh and Taylor used to come over to our house quite a bit, use our pool, and hang out with our kids and us. So we go way back. And from there, obviously, we won Supporter Shield and a U.S. Open Cup, and then I signed as a free agent in 2018. Yes, 2018 with the Houston Dynamo, and just hopped down south a little bit. Went to our main rivals and played a year there. Um, Not even a year. I played 10 months there, which was kind of brutal. I was told I was going to be there for 3 years. Told at my end of the year meeting that they weren't going to trade me. And then, surprise, surprise, a week before preseason starts, I get traded to DC United with a wife that was 7 months pregnant at the time. So that was fun. From there, we decided, or we came up to DC, got settled as quickly as possible, and have been here ever since. So 3 years, and we're going on our fourth year. And I guess we live technically outside of DC in Northern Virginia, but kids are settled in. Wife started her own business back in 2020 as an interior designer and has grown that out. And I'm now currently looking for a new line of work. So it's a bit of a long career. 15 years is something that not many people get, but I was honored and worked my ass off to get it. So I'm happy to move on.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say, man. Is like honestly, kind of the way you described the story was like, oh yeah, then this happened, then that happened. But like, look at the journey, man. 15 years, you won MLS Cup, you went to the Olympics. I think you didn't mention that in your little sum up right there. So you went to the Olympics, you won MLS Cup, you won the Supporter Shield, you won the Open Cup. You played for 15 years as a professional
Two,
soccer player. Like that
two
career
open
is
cups, two open cups.
two Open Cups. Oh my bad, I'm sleeping on your resume. My bad.
Hey,
But
Sites,
then,
yeah, Sites, real quick. I just wanted to pop in here because I'm about to put Tucker down to bed. But I want to say congrats on a great playing career and a not so great cards playing career. And I hope that you're doing okay with calculating your losses into that professional career. So
Listen, as someone's been hiding from the Hearts app for a little too long, Walker, and that would come down to you, my guy. But thanks, bro. Thanks for hopping
Oh
on.
yeah, congrats on a great career, man. I gotta put Tucker down here for bed, but wanted to say congrats and anytime you're around, you have a place to stay at our place or a game to go to. We got you tickets, so
All right.
you're a ledge.
I'm gonna take you up on that, bro.
Do it,
I miss
bro.
you guys. Tell Sally hi.
We'll do. All right, peace.
Peace,
Later.
Walker. So
Yeah.
like like I was saying though, just a legendary career, honestly. Like literally that career is I don't even know, like 1% of even professional players can achieve that many things in their career. And then now you're retired and it's tough. Like even after such a legendary career, it hasn't been like the easiest thing ever to retire. So I think that's something for people to keep in mind. Like maybe sometimes they think, oh yeah, retirement's only hard for athletes who, they weren't that great or whatever, or they only played a few years. But it's everyone, man. There's some problems that are tough for everyone. So
Yeah, well, and that's a great segue to kind of what we're supposed to talk to tonight, right? Like, so I left I basically knew in November that I was going to retire come January. I was willing to listen to some offers and see what was out there, and actually received a couple offers. And we were going to do what was right for our family. We were going to do what made sense for us. And so we decided, my wife and I decided that now was a good time for me to move on. And for me, it was like, okay, well, let's see what's out there. Let's see what sort of goalkeeping jobs are out there. Let's see what sort of front office jobs are out there. Let's see who would A, be interested, and B, something that would make sense for my family. And surprisingly, doors closed very quickly. Not to like throw people on the bus or anything, but my agent tried to help me for like maybe 2 weeks, and then he dropped off the map. I haven't heard from him since. The players union got me in contact and kind of explained to me what MLS offered, but then they've been MIA, and it's like, wow, all my people that I relied on for 15 years and paid to have my back are now completely out of the picture, and my network shrunk a little bit at that point, right? So people that I've always relied on, and let me put it this way: the MLS Players Union is trying to expand and get a network going and stuff like that. It just isn't built out yet, and so they're in the expanding process of all that. But really, my network shrunk quite a bit and became more okay. What are my friends doing? What sort of contacts do they have with my parents, my in-laws? Like, what's going on with that? And then I kind of built it out from there. Sent a bunch of LinkedIn emails to players that I've played with that have moved on and found success elsewhere. And so I had some really deep conversations with a lot of different guys, and that's kind of where most of my opportunities have come from, is players that have moved on who called me up and was like, listen, this is not going to be an easy path, but I'm here to help you through it. And that's basically what I've been relying on. And obviously we talk probably weekly, Tesh, about things that are going on with me, but it's a difficult transition, and it's difficult because I thought I set myself up, and I did financially, but I haven't, I guess, network wise, as well as I thought I had. And B, because I didn't have a big passion when I was playing outside of soccer. And I think that is something that really hindered my transition so far, is that I didn't engage into other opportunities or other networks or other professions, and ask the questions and get to know people in those fields, and kind of not necessarily like intern with them and stuff like that, but get involved in those communities and see what was out there while I was playing. And so now that's what I'm doing, but I'm behind the eight ball, right? I'm 3 months, almost 4 months into retirement, trying to figure out what comes next. And I have this great resume, unique resume, but strong resume. And that's kind of what I'm using to give myself opportunities in the real world.
yeah, that's a great way to summarize it. I think like two things popped up while you're talking. Like one is you talked about kind of the network you thought you had like shifted a little bit, and like some of it fell out from under you and some people popped up. So is that something that you think is just going to happen to everyone, or is there like you could have been a little bit more proactive during your career? Just like for myself and other athletes, I guess, listening, like, how should we think about like our network moving towards the end of our career?
Yeah, I would suggest hugely that you start figuring out, maybe like, if real estate's your thing, or if like, I know your background, but like if that's something that you like to do, or you find something that you're really interested in, I would suggest getting involved and having those conversations with people, and growing your network within those communities now, so it's an easier transition for you later on when it's time to switch over. I think for me, I dabble in so many different small things that like I never really knew what path I wanted to go down. Like I enjoy doing projects. I enjoy helping my wife with her business. I enjoy talking finances. I enjoy crypto. I enjoy all sorts of different things, right? And I wasn't really sure where any of that would lead, but now I'm having the conversations, building out networks that I never thought I needed to do, and now I'm behind the eight ball in the whole process, and that's life. But it's something that I've learned the hard way, and now I want to start preaching to younger players and guys that are looking at the transition about take it seriously, get out there on your weekends or your days off or your off season and put in the time to make the relationships now, so later on it's a lot easier.
Yeah, I think one thing too is like you're saying you had all these interests and like you were doing stuff outside of soccer, but a lot of us, like myself included, for most of my career, were like moving in silence, basically. You know, like I'm investing in real estate, but I wasn't talking about it, or I'm like, I like personal finance, but I wasn't talking about it. Just like you, I feel like you were doing all this stuff, but we weren't too loud about it. And I think that that's something that I kind of realized, and I'm trying to like preach to other players is like, man, we have this opportunity, like, because there's so many, like, you know how it is, there's so many interesting people like doing dope stuff off of the field, but like I feel like nobody knows about it, right? Like for the most part, like nobody knows except for the biggest guys, like what are people doing in their free time, what are they interested in? And so I'm trying to tell people, like, be loud about it, man. Like whatever you're interested in, like start talking about it now on
But that
social media, go to the events, all that stuff.
I'd also argue that it's like a new age of it, right? Like back in the day, it was frowned upon on having interest outside of soccer, and being more of a business as yourself rather than being a part of a business. And like the rap line, right? Like I'm a businessman, not a business. Like I'm a businessman, not a businessman. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
are a business. You are you need to worry about you. You don't need to worry about what coach is thinking about what you're doing with your extracurricular stuff. Like you need to worry about what your future looks like and what you need to do in order to prepare yourself for what comes next. Because A, they were doing it, and B, like soccer is like the pinnacle, right? Like we've reached the highest level, whether it's MLS, whether it's overseas, whether it's national teams, whatever it is, like those are the pinnacles of our sport. And it's only downhill after that, right? So you have to figure out what it is going to be, and you have to find something that's going to make sense for you and whoever you bring along with you in your journey. So that's
Yep.
kind of like how I look at it.
Yeah, I think that what you said too, like it was frowned upon and it's like changing. I'm sure, like, honestly, some people and teams still probably frown upon it and would rather their players just kind of head down and grind. But like at the end of the day, people are doing stuff outside of the field, like whether or not they're posting about it on social media. So in my opinion, like I don't see why not. Like I don't think it takes away from your focus on the game. Like I can still spend so much time on soccer, on my body, on my mentality, and and post on Twitter like a couple times a day. Like it's not that big of a deal.
Listen, you're in spaces more than anyone I've ever seen in my life. So.
Oh, I love it. All right, let me get to Jason. He just pulled up, and to everyone else in the crowd, like please hit the request, and we'll pull you guys up here, and you could talk to us about Chris's journey into retirement and or whatever else. Jason,
Yeah,
what's up?
anything.
Oh,
Hey,
shout out
what's
to
up?
Jason, Lions Den podcast. I was on with you guys last night,
Yeah,
so
you were.
thanks for having me.
Thanks for now me having you or whatever. Hey, thanks for coming on. Hey, Chris, man, happy retirement, man. I'm just hearing you. Let me ask you this. What would you tell kids that are going through the academy, that aren't going to school, but going through the academy, sign these homegrown deals and everything, but have no education, don't go to college, and then when they get to their 28, 29, and they're basically, the balloon deflates and they have nothing accomplished after their life, basically after soccer? What would you tell them to do? Because like Tesho, I mean, we had him yesterday on our podcast. He went to his 4 years of college, did everything, smart move, by the way. What would you tell kids nowadays that are just, I'm doing soccer, I'm going to soccer, I'm going to play soccer, because soccer's not the rest of your life, to be honest with you. And what would you tell them?
So, I mean, we ran into this issue a lot in Dallas, right? The first, 8 or 9 homegrowns didn't really work out, and they all fizzled out pretty quickly. And those guys had a steep learning curve. They all decided to not go to college. They committed and then signed at 17, 16 years old with the FC Dallas Academy. And those guys had a hard time. And I saw that firsthand with guys like Ruben Luna, with Brian Leva, with Jonathan Top, all these guys that worked really hard to get homegrown opportunities, also college opportunities, but decided to go the homegrown route. And then for whatever reason, whether it was an injury or just burnt out, they fizzled out. And that's more common than a guy playing till he's 29 or 30 years old. And one thing I would say to them is figure out what you're interested in. Um, and there's so many things that you can do through YouTube, that you can do through online school, that you can do through all sorts of different things, that when you're 17, 18, 19 years old, you have so much free time in professional sports to continue to better yourself off the pitch and off the field and after training sessions. And I mean, heck, we're done at 2 o'clock mostly almost every single day. So there's so much time in the day to be able to, sorry, giving one of my kids a kiss goodnight. There's so much time in the day for you to be able to better yourself off the soccer field and set yourself up for the future. I was guilty when Walker was on. We used to play Call of Duty every single day from like 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock at night until our girlfriends or my wife got home, and that was kind of our thing. But I look back at it, and it wasn't wasted time because it was great bonding and fun. But it definitely was time lost in terms of bettering myself and preparing myself for what comes next. And I ended up being able to graduate college while playing. I went to 2 years at University of Maryland and then left to go pro, and decided to go back through SNHU, which was offered by the league at the time, and finished my BA, my bachelor's degree through them, and started my master's. So there's so much time out there. And I did that with 5 kids, or 4 kids, I guess, and masters with 5. So there's so much time out there for professional athletes to continue to better themselves and figure out what they want to do. It's just realizing it and figuring out that you really need to put your head down and keep grinding once you're done training every single day.
Yeah, I want to hop in right there too, because I think you gave a great answer. And one thing I want to reiterate on what you said, and like in Jason's question, he said, "Oh, the homegrowns who sign, and then by the time they're 28, 29, things fizzle out." For most people, it does not even get that far, and that's kind of what I was saying at the beginning. Like your career being 15 years was a complete anomaly. Even a career of like 8, 9 years is not normal at all. Like most people sign a contract, and within 2 years, 3 years, they're done. They're out of the league. So I think it's not even something that people can put on the back burner and be like, oh, I'll slowly move in that direction to like start preparing myself or get to it one day. Like you don't know when it's going to end. You know, we all hope that we have a 20-year career, but we never know when it's going to end. And it could be injury, it could be skill wise or whatever. But you kind of have to prepare for the worst case scenario, I guess.
Well, and I think, and Tesho, you and I have talked about this before, but like for those young guys that come in as homegrowns and choose going pro over going to college, like once their pro career is over, they can't go get a scholarship in college anymore. Like once you sign a pro contract, you're not eligible to play. Um, and so it's a huge life decision to choose to go pro, knowing or not knowing that you might only play for 2 years. And I think that's just not talked about enough for these young guys, because obviously going pro ASAP is very appealing, but nobody really talks publicly about the downsides of it.
Yeah, one good thing I've seen some people do is you can negotiate with the team to get you like money to pay for schooling, like when you sign a homegrown contract. So I think that that's something that people should look into, or like seeing how the league can help you, get an education if you pass it up to go pro. Because like it's hard to, if a 17-year-old has a pro contract on the table, it's hard to turn that down and go to college. But if you are going to take it, I would say like you also need to see what the league can do to help you, in other parts of your life as well. Hey, we got John Kempin up here. Another goalie who's going to have a 20-year career. What's up, John?
What's up, guys? I've never used this before, so I don't really know what I'm doing. But I thought I would chime in because I am one of those players who signed when I was 16, 17, and got some money for schooling, and ended up getting my undergrad and master's degree while I was playing. So one thing I think I'm trying to see, it was Jason who asked about it. One thing that I would say to the kids who do sign those deals is try and get that money. And if you can't get that money, then the league has partnered with Southern New Hampshire and now University of South Carolina to give players discounts on that education. And, I think it's worth all of them trying to take some classes. Like I started off with one class, a semester, and then I started with two. Because in the off season, kind of November, December, January months, we're able to take a little bit more classes. But once it hits preseason mode, you got double days and so forth. So maybe you only take one class. And it took me 12 years to get my undergrad and my master's degree, but kind of slowly taking those classes, really helped me get that degree and so forth. And I also feel like it helped me with soccer as well, because some of the courses dealt with business, some of the courses, dealt with finances, some of them were maybe the health kind of industry and so forth. So I really felt like it also helped me on the field.
Can I say something, Tesho, real quick? Let me ask you, John, or Tesho or Chris, does the MLS promote that to players, young players, that they will pay for their college if they sign the homegrown? Because I've never heard of it. I know my nephew plays.
Individual clubs will.
They will?
They'll use it as like a sweetener to get a 17-year-old to sign.
Okay.
Like a lot of those clubs will promote. First off, they'll promote the South Carolina stuff because that's league wide, rather than the individual club paying for anything. And then they'll go the route of saying, "Hey, we'll help you. We'll give you X amount of money for X amount of years to seek an education and do different things." And John and I both signed as Generation Adidas athletes, so we both had 10 years of free education at the time. I think they're still doing GA deals, but there's very few of them. There used to be more back in the day, and the whole point of that was giving you 10 years, if your career didn't work, to go back to school and have it paid for by the league, which was super, super appealing to me and to my family, because I obviously had a good scholarship in college, and it gave me an opportunity to be like, hey, if this doesn't work out, I have a backup plan, and it's covered completely. So the league tries to do it to get younger athletes and younger guys to leave college early and to pursue professional deals, and they've been using it for the homegrowns as well.
Yeah, that's a good topic right there. I'm glad you came up, John, to to give firsthand experience of what that's like. And sometimes, like, within the same clubs, you see some people will negotiate for that and some people won't. And if you don't negotiate for it, they're not going to give it to you. They're not just going to hand it to you a lot of times. So I think it's something. I think that hopefully agents are helping players with that right now, to like know that that's an option.
Yeah, and I'd say one thing that I saw when I was playing in Columbus was the GMs there. They obviously could have offered those deals to the kids, but they decided to let them go to college for 1 year. And if you go to some of these schools for 1 year, you get a lifetime scholarship, which saves some money for the clubs, but also gives the athletes, the young kids, a chance to go back to school when they're done playing, or try and take classes while they're still playing. So that's another really cool option that I would recommend to some of the kids who are maybe looking to sign pro out of high school, or maybe 1 or 2 years of college.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yo, Seitz, I got a question for you. I just thought of. So, like, I'm sure the first day you retired, it was, all the congratulations are coming in. You're probably like, yo, I'm gonna wake up, drink a margarita first thing in the morning. I'm chilling. At what point do you think you started being like, okay, I need to like seriously buckle down and like really get on the job hunt? Or was that right away? Am I just, like
So
mixing?
I truly started in November, trying to figure out what my contacts were like, what my network was looking like, who was truly willing to go out on a leg and help me in this process. And that started pretty early, and that was super slow, because when you're using your network, and as many people know, like, you're not on your timeline, you're on their timeline, and they're getting to your emails when they have an opportunity. You're not at the forefront of their concentration. And so that was the hardest part for me. Like, I was eager to start pursuing all these different directions, but I was waiting on my contacts to get back to me, B, get back to and reach out to the people that they were talking about, and then waiting for them to get back and hear from them is it was just a super slow and long process. And I'm now like reaping the benefits of it, because I'm now getting all these different interviews and going through different my different pathways. But at the time, like, I'm being on other people's timelines is what has gotten me itchy and getting me like nervous. Like, hey guys, like, I'm sitting here like waiting by my email, waiting to hear from you guys. What's going on? And sending the weekly follow-ups and doing all the things that you learn about in networking classes and different things. And it's a slow process, but with a resume and a career that I've had, like, it obviously isn't putting me in at a lot of entry level positions, and that's not really what I'm looking for. So it's a little bit longer process than some others might be.
Yeah, like you're talking about, you're kind of on a time crunch because something that we joked about is like, man, come January 15th when that first paycheck doesn't hit, it's like, whoa, this is real. And then what is it, 2 months later when the health insurance cuts out because they give you a little bit of health insurance for a few months, right?
Yeah. So 2 months for MLS players, 2 months after you announce your retirement, your health insurance cuts out. And so first off, you have to announce your retirement, sign paperwork to MLS committing to retirement. And if you do exit out of retirement, you'll lose the benefits for the future. And so like you announce your retirement, you sign your intent to retire with the league, and then Aetna kicks back in, so our insurance kicks back in for 2 months, but it's a countdown clock, and that just expired. So now we got obviously family insurance and stuff, but we have to go through a whole new process and figure it all out. So it's like it's been real for a long time, but it gets realer every day when more and more stuff becomes obviously rent and everything else is always due, but it's a big life lesson and something that I'm learning, and I'm glad that I was able to save while I did and continue to have the funds to be able to take care of our family. But it's something that we obviously are focused on every day.
Hi, Chris, Tesho, Taylor. This is Charlie. One of the things that I learned going through similar experiences when I was facing the same kind of thing was that learning to start writing down little things that you've done and list like things you accomplish. One of the things that will really help you in the business world is being able to express what you've done in the past that shows achievement that's actionable and something that you can measure with numbers in some way. Whether it's helping a teammate achieve something or working on some little project, to be able to quantify it in some way will take you a long, long way in the business world and in a lot of different pursuits beyond being like in business.
Yeah, that's great, Charlie. I agree. When I've been going through the interview process with different people, when they ask about experiences or things I've written on my resume, they ask for true examples. And so having those examples and having those moments and being able to not only communicate them, but display a result from it is always crucial and something that a lot of these managers and these CEOs and principals are interested in. So that's a great comment, Charlie. Thank you.
I feel like sometimes we're not used to like tooting our own horn or whatever, and especially you. Like I know you're like a humble guy, but I guess like at some point you got to show the world like what you're really about. Otherwise, no one will know.
Yeah, I haven't talked about the Olympics or my humanitarian award at all in like 15 years, and I've mentioned it more in the last 2 months than I have like in my whole entire career. So yeah, I agree, but it's about getting comfortable with your achievements and showing why those achievements matter and what they prove to what you can do in the future. And I think that's like a lot of athletes are great at tooting their own horn, but I was never a guy that liked to do that. I was always the guy that wanted to prove myself through work. And when you're job hunting and looking for new challenges, like you have to be able to toot it at some point, and it's not easy.
You're going into the interviews with the Olympics tattoo first. That's the first thing you put in the door is the tattoo, so they know.
No, but it's like, hey, like I've competed with the best worldwide. I've worked hard enough to be able to have the honor of representing my country on a world stage and go to opening ceremonies and be a part of a team that everyone would die to be a part of. And so for me, it was the pinnacle of everything. My family obviously grew up watching the opening ceremonies in the Olympics and cheering for them. So being able to have my mom and my dad and my sister there and celebrate with me going to the Olympics was truly special. And I never really talked about it, but I've had to, since it's on my resume, a lot more lately than in time past.
That makes me think too. What is the interview process like? How has it been for you? Because, like you said, you're not really trying to just get an entry level job. You're a 35-year-old that has 5 kids. You know, you can't get an internship right now. So like, what is the interview process like? And obviously you don't have like business skills, but you're a smart guy. You've gone to school. You do have skills. So like, how does that process go in general for you?
So it's not easy. First, you have to find either connections within the industry that are at a similar level to what you're looking for, and have conversations with them and talk to them about how you think your skills will be able to translate into their professions, and what sort of network you have and opportunities that you can bring to them. And business world is what you can do for them, right? And so for me, it's always been about how I can better the company and how my presence and my work ethic and my skill set can help the company in certain ways. And so for me, I've had to go in and basically say, like, listen, my business background is slim, but I've worked on the MLSPA. I've been through a bunch of CBA negotiations. I've been my team rep. I've gone through 7 or 8 contracts myself, and I've worked out individual sponsorship deals. I've done all this different contractual stuff, so I have a lot of business experience. I've been a leader of a bunch of teams. I've helped a bunch of young kids with financial situations and worked with them about money management and different things. And for me, it's about turning moments within the locker room into business ideas and translating it from a locker room into a business world, and proving that us athletes, like, maybe we don't have 15 years of business behind our backs, but we have a heck of a lot of business and a heck of a lot of work ethic to get us to that point of being a professional, in a sport where very few people end up being professional. So it's been a really good learning process for me about turning what my soccer experience is and turning it into business experience and showing how I do belong at the higher levels of a company, and why I belong there. And truthfully, a lot of these companies want athletes on their payroll and want athletes in their companies, but they have to be willing to take a chance on them, and that's kind of where I'm at right now.
That's just what I was going to ask, Chris. Like, are any of these people interviewing you, are they, do they value that kind of your leadership and so forth? I mean, looking at yourself, you've saved lives, you've saved, goals. You've been a leader. I really enjoyed working with you. I mean, one of the best teammates that I've ever played with. And one thing that I know about you is, if you didn't know something, you would go and figure out how to do it. You would Google it. You would, search for it. You would practice it. You would ask for help, whatever it might be. So I just feel like whoever snags you up, is going to be super lucky, because you're going to, you're one of the hardest working guys. You're going to figure out how to do these things, even if you don't know how to do them now. It's not going to stop you.
Yeah. So a lot of jobs that people recommend for athletes are sales jobs because it's a competitive atmosphere, right? But the number one thing that people don't want to do is sales, because you're constantly having to cold call people or pitch ideas, and it might not be appealing to a lot of people. So the positions that I'm looking for are like right outside of sales jobs, and it's a little bit more of like networking and using your network to the advantage of the company. And so one of the businesses that I'm looking into is wealth management and being a financial advisor and doing it in a way where I could use my sports connections and my agency connections and different things to give the company a little bit different opportunities than they have prior, and kind of an inside source into different things. And they already have a sport and entertainment sector, but they don't have a guy that has an in or the background that I have with it, and they find that super appealing. And so for me, it's been a good process so far. But the great thing about that is that I'll go through a 14-week program with them where they'll teach me exactly how they want me to go about doing things and teach me the processes and how to work with the analytics teams and do different things. So I'm looking for positions where A, I'm interested in it. B, I think it can help round me out as a business person, because eventually I would like to get back into soccer, but right now I don't feel like there's a position in soccer that would be willing to take a chance on me, and give me an opportunity to show myself at my current level with business knowledge. And so I'm going to go out there and look and try and find ways to better myself in the business world before I come back and try and get a position within a Major League Soccer team.
I just want to remind everybody in the crowd, like, this is for you guys too. Come up and if you guys have any questions, I'd love to hear what you guys have to ask Seitz
Or
about his
similar
experience.
situations, like
Similar situations too. Yeah, come up, hit the request, and we'll get you guys up here to talk.
I have a real quick question for you guys. Seitz, did you come up with an elevator speech? Basically, it's like a 1 to 2 minute synopsis of who you are and what you're looking for.
Yeah. So I went
Can we
through
hear it?
Do you want to hear it right now?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, well, it varies, right? So I tailor everything to the crowd or the people that I'm referring to, but it basically I'll introduce myself. I'll say I'm a 15-year professional who just recently retired. If the job's in the DC area, I'll mention the fact that I went to the University of Maryland. I'm an Olympian, played for 15 years and decided to retire on my own terms, which is important to me. I've obviously achieved a lot through my career within Major League Soccer, but I'm looking for a new challenge and a new opportunity that I'm interested in, but also something that I can learn and better myself, but also bring a unique experience and a unique skill set to the company and help better the company as well. I'm compassionate. I'm driven, self-driven, but I'm also a great team member, and that's basically along the lines of where I go with it. But I have like a full email pitch. I have a full interview pitch. I have a full like business pitch. They all differ depending on who I'm referring to or who I'm talking to and kind of what I'm looking for. So they all kind of vary. But I go through the facts. I go through the facts between the fact that I'm self-driven, competitive, a team member, but also someone that's worked in diverse situations with ultra competitive person who's dealt with what is this sentence that I'm looking for? Diversity in competitive situations. So it's kind of like basically just saying like, look, I've been there, I've done this, I've also failed in situations, but I've learned from them and I've bettered myself because of it. And so it's a good question, Charlie.
That's good. One thing that I didn't hear you mention that I would hope to would be that you have proven leadership skills.
Yep.
And every single one of you who has been a professional athlete has that.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
I talk about my leadership abilities as well within it.
Good.
But I harp on the fact that like I'm self-driven, but I'm also competitive and a great team member, because a lot of these groups that I'm looking to be a part of aren't just individual sales positions. They're positions where I'm a part of a group and a part of an analytic team or a financial advising team that's going to be looking at these and helping these individuals. So that's kind of how I look at it.
I think that you guys speaking to diversity is a really good thing to bring up. It's important in the world today, but it's also extremely true of MLS athletes. We're very inclusive of all diversity, and the fact you all have worked with that, and that you all are that way, I think is an important asset. The other thing I would think for you guys might be important would be the ability to work with difficult personalities, with multiple egos, with young people versus older people, and your ability to successfully manage that as an individual, you manage your way through it and manage that as a leader when you're working within a team.
No, I think that's great. I laugh because John and I talk about that on a daily basis, dealing with difficult characters and difficult team members. But for me, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like we have so much experience and so much experience in tough situations and diverse situations, and we are better for it. And I think MLS is a unique ball in the aspect of we are so diverse in our locker rooms, but we're also always there to continue to build a locker room and to build a culture within a team. And a lot of these teams are always continually looking to create a new culture or create a new dynamic within their team. And a lot of that relies on the players to not only embrace, but to create it themselves. And Tesho and I have been a part of that for quite a few teams, and John as well.
For sure.
I'm looking
Jason, you
at
had something?
yeah, I got some. I see Jamie Watson's on. Have you ever thought about being a color commentary, a TV analyst like Jamie?
Jamie should get up here too and
Jamie
share
should
his
get up here.
experience. Yeah, come on, Jamie.
Jamie's the voice of what team now? All sorts of
Nashville.
different things.
Nashville.
Now, but he was with Minnesota for a bit. I played with Jamie. Jamie and I played together in Salt Lake, and with some youth national teams. He's there. He's just in there to get some credit. Where's he at? He's not gonna come up.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, because you said you wanted to be in soccer, but I guess like probably not the broadcasting side, or would you want to do that?
No, I enjoy staying connected to soccer. Right now, I'm training like 4 high school kids just to continue to kick a soccer ball and talk goalkeeping and kind of mentor some kids. And that aspect of it is a lot of fun right now. I'm not doing it really for the financial gain of it. I'm doing it more of just sticking around within the sport. And commentating would be interesting. I haven't really taken a big thought process into it, but I don't know. It's if an opportunity arose, I'd definitely look at it. There he is, Jamie. What up,
What's
Jamie?
up, guys? Hey, I'm just listening. It's that bedtime routine for the kids' time right now, so I'm just listening. And I'll try to jump in later, but enjoying listening to you guys through the AirPods. So
yeah, we know how it is. Yeah, we know how it is for sure.
Love this every week, man. Good stuff. Love this whole entire panel you got here. So keep going. I'm enjoying it, and I'll listen in and try to join in later if I can. All right.
Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate it. We had the guy with the Benji cowboy picture was up here. We didn't get to yet. I don't know if you still got a question, but come back up and we'll get to your question. Yeah, man, it's interesting. It's interesting stuff. One thing you've mentioned a few times is that you feel like you did well to set yourself up financially. So do you have any like general tips for athletes on what to do to set yourself up to at least have like a cushion so you're not like starving to death the second your career is over?
Yeah, well, for me, my wife and I sat down and tried to understand what our expenses look like, right? We tried to figure out what monthly expenses we have, where we can trim it down. We made sure we paid off our cars before I retired, so we wouldn't have monthly car payments. We made sure that we understood our food and grocery budget. We made sure, obviously, we couldn't plan on inflation and all that, but for us, we got a good idea of what we needed to give ourselves like a 6-month cushion within this process. And my wife's still working. I mean, she's still bringing in some money, so there's that as well. But for us, we wanted to make sure that we knew what our monthly expenses were, where we could cut those down, how we could cut those down, but also continue to try and set ourselves up and not cut too much into it. So we've given ourselves a budget that we try to stay in within monthly and still be comfortable. But that's the hardest part, right? Like, I have 5 kids who I don't ever want to know that we're worried about finances or doing different things, and continue to just let them learn and love and grow. And for us, we've done a really good job of kind of having those conversations away from the kids. And like right now we got a book fair going on, and our kids are like, "Daddy, you don't have a job. Can I get this book?" And I'm like, "Baby girl, you can get whatever you want," right? So it's funny though. We'll go to Giant, or we'll go to the local supermarket, and they'll see a now hiring sign. And I think we went by a nail salon that said that they were hiring, and my daughter's like, "Dad, look, you could work here." So like they're cute, dude. They always ask me why my coach doesn't want me anymore and stuff like that. And so they understand what's going on, but also at the same time they're so young and so naive, and I want to keep them that way.
Yeah, kids add just another dynamic to it for sure. And just like with the budgeting thing, man, everybody thinks budgeting is boring, but you got to do it, like at least to some degree. Maybe not to every penny, but you got to do it. And you're the one who introduced me to mint.com, and I'm like the biggest fan of mint.com. So everybody listening right now, if you need help getting a budget, go to mint.com. They'll help you set it up.
There's a couple others out now too that do a really good job. But Mint's been great, dude. I use Mint from before I was your roommate, I think. And you were like, "Bro, it's like you give them all your information." And I'm like, "But they're going to help you so much." and you
No,
looked
I
at it,
love it.
and now you're crushing it.
Yeah, I'm the biggest fan. All right, the guy at the Benji picture first because you were up earlier, and then I'm gonna get to you, Alec.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, how you doing?
Good,
Hey, how
good.
you doing?
Thanks for doing all this. It's pretty cool. You do this Tesho every Tuesday. I was
Yeah,
just gonna
appreciate
ask
it.
Chris, like, what kind of got you interested in becoming a financial advisor? I was kind of gonna do that, and then I just kind of got turned off after being in banking for like almost 7 years. I was like, nah, this is not for me. So I kind of went towards like the business relationship realm, where like I work with like directly with business clients and just kind of serve them and find opportunities there. Um, yeah, I just kind of wanted to ask, what got you interested in becoming a financial advisor?
So I've had a financial advisor since I was 18 years old. He's an ex-teammate of mine at the University of Maryland. His name's Jason Gary, and I've worked with him pretty closely for quite some time, and he's been able to help my family. And obviously, he's done a good job for me if I've kept him around this long. And for me, it's like, hey, I've built all these great networks. One thing that I see a lot within MLS is the fact that these young kids are coming into the league with no financial literacy at all. Um, there's guys that are coming in here, getting national team exposure, making these giant paychecks and getting these huge bonuses, but they don't know what to do with it. And they don't know where to put it, what to do with it, and different things like that. And I just think the literacy, financial literacy within the league itself is astounding. It's terrible. And I think there's so many different avenues that players can take, but this is one that I've taken within our locker room. John can speak to it, but we speak a lot with the younger kids about like, yo, what are you doing with your money? Live at home as long as possible. Save yourself on rent. Save yourself on utilities. Drive your Civic until it dies, and save your money, and do the right things with it. And for me, those conversations have led me to think that like it's something that I'm interested in and I'm constantly reading up on, but B, like I enjoy helping people, and helping people set themselves up, not just them, but setting up their families as well and creating generational wealth. And as long as they can continue to do it and compete at a high level and know that they have someone trustworthy having their back, I think it's a huge bonus for them and a weight off their shoulders.
Yeah, I think that's like was what made a difference for me because like my parents are Peruvian, so even though I was born in Peru, like they barely even knew how to put me in school when we first moved over here. And not having a financial advisor, not growing up with that experience, it's like you don't really know it until you're exposed to it. So I can only imagine like all these guys making money and wanting to live here for the long run, especially when they're from other countries. They have zero knowledge. I mean, they might not even speak the language to really understand it.
So MLS offers a 401k, and
Mhm.
these international players, a lot of them don't even know what a 401k is.
Right.
And they don't know that MLS is contributing to their 401k or that they have the money in a Fidelity account somewhere that's theirs and it's their money. Like none of these guys have, not none of them, but a lot of these guys don't have any idea of the opportunities and the things that MLS is offering them and that they can do for themselves within it. And for me, like it's obviously there's a global financial system, right? So they understand a lot of it from their home countries, but maybe not the educational level of it and truly how special the opportunity is to continue to make money and have your money grow in the US. And so for me, it's a great opportunity to help these guys. And I've done it in the DC locker room. I've done it in the Dallas locker room. I did it while I was down in Houston, but just making people aware of what they have at their fingertips and what they can do with it. And I kind
Yeah,
of
man.
want to translate
Knowledge
that
is power. That's
into
for sure.
else.
Yeah. Hey, good luck, man. Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, all right, guys, we got like about 10 minutes left, so definitely if you got any questions, make sure to hit the request, come up and ask your questions before it all ends. Alec, what's up, bro?
Yo, what's up? This is not really financial related, but I saw you guys were all in here, so thank you for doing this. Hey, John, I've been a huge fan forever of you. Just had a little fun question for you specifically. What is your most memorable moment in your career so far? Thanks.
My most memorable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough. I'd say, obviously, on the field, probably winning a championship of any sorts. I mean, you're with your team all year long. You're going through a grueling preseason of double days. You're going through the ups and downs and so forth to make the playoffs, or you're going through the Open Cup tournament, and you've got some tough games. You maybe have some bad losses and so forth, but you just kind of work through it the entire season. Your team hits a hot streak, and you guys all come together and to win a championship. I mean, that's obviously really special to do. And I know, Chris and Tesh have been a part of that as well. And I'm sure that they would say the same thing, but kind of being a part of something as special as a championship after everything your team has gone through together is definitely super special.
Sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Alec. All right, Sean, what's up, bro?
Sorry, I couldn't figure out my mute there for a second. But former players, just thinking through as someone on the front office side now, what retiring players think of like front office jobs that are directly with the team and maybe more on the business side. Jamie Watson obviously has made a great transition to talking about soccer, even though he wasn't very good at playing it. I used to work with him, so I can jab a little, but just curious to hear thoughts on like the front office jobs that exist on the business side and what players know and think about them and what interest they have in them at the tail end of their career.
You would be surprised about how many people would love to work in the business side of Major League Soccer, players and ex-players. I think a lot of it is because they feel like they can offer a different perspective within the business and kind of help translate kind of what the players see of the company and of the team. And I can't get away from this conversation that Gooch had with Grant Wall. I don't know if anyone read it, but he was talking about how him and Beasley, two huge Major League Soccer players, but also national team players, are struggling to find opportunities within Major League Soccer, both on the business end and on the technical end. And it was surprising to me if guys like that are struggling to find jobs. Like, who's someone like me who doesn't have any sort of name recognition compared to them? How am I going to be able to do that? And so for me, I eventually would love to get on to the business side of MLS, but I found the route that I don't think I'm going to have those opportunities now. And through my contacts that I've talked to, I don't think those opportunities exist right now for ex-players. And so I'm going to go and try and get some more business knowledge before I come back and try and do it and kind of have a more rounded business background as well as obviously a playing background.
When you say like the business side of soccer, like what I think most players want to be or like imagine is that they'll become like the GM of the team. Like what other roles are, I don't even like, I honestly don't even really know what other roles like are you talking about or thinking about inside of an organization?
Yeah, what I think is somewhat interesting is, I've talked to some of our former players. I work for Minnesota United, so I've been here for 10 years. And I've talked with folks from the NASL days through the MLS days that I think are incredibly personable, incredibly affable, like just really enjoyable people. And think of like what they could grow into, but it takes a weird like step back. I don't know if y'all familiar with Justin Davis, but former player of ours who played for us and then played for Nashville for a year and is now working in the sponsorship side for Vanderbilt. And I think it's just interesting to see him grow and develop in that side. But like some of that business development side, I think there's some players who are very good at speaking to people and have a very fun story to tell, but could be a part of that space.
No, I couldn't agree more. Business development is something that I've thought a lot about, and I think there's a lot of athletes that would be great in that space, as well as advertisements, as well as a bunch of different sides of it. Like Tesho's a finance guy. Like there's no reason why he couldn't become eventually a CFO or work within that aspect of a company. And so I think there are so many players that could do a lot of great stuff in the business side of it, not just the technical or GM aspects of it, but also the true business aspects of it. And I think you're onto something, Sean.
I think I think people need to kind of know what's out there because I think most people don't really know what there is to do in the front office other than like be the GM. I honestly feel like that.
Guys, connect with me as I'm a vice president of ticket sales, so I've been around for a grip of everything on the business side. But connect with me. I'd love to kind of share some stories, talk about kind of what positions exist and kind of the pathways that people take. Even if it's just to share some of the unathletic dude side of working in sports.
I love that, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
I wanted to add. I wanted to add real quickly. Chris Wondolowski just joined the front office for the San Jose Earthquakes, and he has an assistant to the GM job. So it seems like it's a job that they kind of made because of the it's Chris Wondolowski. So I wonder if more clubs are going to be doing things like that, like assistant to the GM roles for former players. Thank you.
yeah,
For
Fabian, that's
top
great.
scorers of all time for the league.
No,
That's all it took.
the best man at my wedding got that gig straight out of playing for Salt Lake. Tony Beltran became the assistant to the GM or assistant GM for Real Salt Lake, and it's been a heck of a learning curve for him, and he's really enjoyed it. And he's also done really, really well. If you look at their acquisitions and what they've been able to do with their payroll, and he's really gone into that role and seamlessly done a really good job. And you would think that more clubs would see that and be willing to take chances on people, but it's very seldom guys that are journeymen in this league get those opportunities. It's more guys that played 12 to 15 years for the same club, and we're able to build that relationship and that trust that get those opportunities, which is great for them.
Yeah, that's a great point about because those guys both did spend a long time with one club, so you build up that really a deep network in one place. So it's cool that it paid off, especially because like I said with Wondolowski, this guy's the leading goal scorer ever. So like it makes sense that he would get something. But Beltran, like he had a solid career, but wasn't like superstar, So it's nice that the team, that he spent so much time with was able to repay him that way.
Yeah, he was no Victor Ulloa.
No Victor Ulloa, that's for sure. That's the real legend. Let me get to FC Hedges, and then we'll just wrap it up real quick. What's up, Hedges?
Hey, what's up, guys? Just have a quick question for both you and Chris. And I don't know if Victor can get on too, but if you can get on, that'd be cool. What's something that y'all miss about Dallas?
Hey, go ahead, Tesh. I'll go after you.
What I miss about Dallas? I mean the people, I guess the most. Honestly, we had a great group of teammates over there. Like Chris was there, Victor, who's in the crowd right now, was there. So Walker, Ryan, like a lot of good teammates and people. So I'd say that's what I miss the most.
I miss the affordability. Shit, I live in DC, man. Dallas is so cheap, and it's obviously getting a lot more expensive now. But no, my whole family was built there. I had 4 of my 5 kids there. I bought my first house there. I ended up owning 2 properties there for a bit, and dude, I miss a lot about Dallas, and it's a place that my family actually has contemplated moving back to look at business opportunities. So. My wife and I look back at Dallas with a lot of fond memories, and obviously we built a heck of a team there and had a heck of a roster and great guys. And I think that's the most important thing is, dude, we would get together on Sundays on our days off, and we would be 8 to 10 guys deep on a constant basis of just wanting to hang out, and a super close group of guys and guys that we keep in contact with and play fantasy football with and have fantasy football leagues and do different things. So dude, those days for me were some of my best years in the league.
Yeah, for sure. You guys always killed it. We love you here in Dallas. I remember you guys used to do the what was it, like the grilling? Like you guys would like grill after practice or something, and like
the asados.
Yeah.
Tesho still gets that. Tesho still gets that down in Orlando.
Man, see, I wish we still did that. But
yeah, good times.
I think you guys do.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if we're very like I don't know if we post about it anymore, but like because like when y'all were here, we would post about it and like me and like El Matador, we'd be like, oh, that's so cool, like. But I don't think they post about it anymore, so I don't know if they do it or not.
So I follow. I'm pretty close to Jimmy, and Jimmy posts about it every once in a while. But
oh, that's sick.
I think Marco took over it. Ferruzzi. He would always help.
Really?
He'd always help Josemo with it, and so I think he kind of took over once Josemo left and went down to Tijuana, and then obviously to Orlando. But I think he took it over, so I think they're still doing it, dude. It's a heck of a culture builder, man, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, thanks for the question. We have some more requests, but usually I just cut it off at an hour. So you guys are gonna have to tune in next Tuesday, 8 p.m., and we'll get you up here on the mic. Seitz, what you got to say, bro? Closing words. You got anything?
Nah, dude. I'm just happy to be supporting you, bro, in your Tuesdays with Tesho. I'm hoping you keep this going and keep crushing it, man. I enjoy it.
I could hire you as the head of business development. I'll give you 100% of my revenue. So if you want it, but
I'll
yeah,
wait until you
man.
drop your shirt line.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, guys, everybody on here, please follow my guy Seitz. Great guy, great person, and I'm just really excited to see what you do next in your career. And you know, you're in here almost every Tuesday anyway. So if you guys have more questions for Seitz, he'll be in here. Maybe we'll have to have like a check-in episode with him or something in a few weeks, see how it's all going. But yeah, see you guys next Tuesday, 8 p.m. And thanks for coming through.
Thanks, guys.